We should be on. Let me make sure. That's a nice background there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
This is the first time me doing this kind of thing in the new house, so we just moved in.
Yeah, congratulations.
So I'm like, I need a little time. Like, wait, I don't know where my setup's gonna be.
Where did you guys move to?
We're still in the mountains because we're just mountain people. But yeah, we moved to like a nice sunnier area that the snow it gets fun and then just melts away. Until, I was tired of the rocky ice and stuff.
Yeah. I like the melting away of snow. That's good. Speaking of melting away, I love how you help to turn words, have them melt from words into money.
Melts words into money. I like that. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm grateful that you're here. I wanted everybody in the group to be introduced to you, but also hear your story, and then also get some direct, really pressing questions that they had answered by an expert like you in the copywriting space. So if you're okay, if you can introduce yourself, and then what you specifically do, and then we'll dive into the questions.
Absolutely. So I'm Alina Medina. Yes, my name rhymes like that. It's my husband's doing. I am a copywriter. I've been a copywriter for 6 years now. And I've had the honor of writing for even some celebrities and influencers like especially in like the e-commerce space. Some people have been in like the software industry as well, influencers. And so, people that you see on Shark Tank, I've written for them. And it's been an exciting journey. And I've definitely just fallen in love with the process. And I've learned a lot of things from these different types of companies.
And is it just you, the brain behind everything, or do you have team members that you kind of train and mold into your style of writing, or how are you managing your operation?
Yeah, well, I'm not a very, it's mostly just me right now. I have tried to hire people before. I'm still trying to find that good partner to team up with, because it would be great. I'm very picky about who I bring on board. They need to, it takes time to really just be very good at persuading people to a point where it's just so natural. And so, I have been training people behind the scenes, and maybe when they're ready to actually take on client work, that will be fun to do. But in the meantime, I definitely work with people like my husband. We actually have a video agency. He doesn't do copywriting, but he is a genius in his own right of pulling on the heartstrings of people. And probably hear my puppy in the background. She is also on the team.
Yeah, nice mascot. And how did you get into copywriting?
Oh, that is an excellent question. I was a pregnant, frustrated mom that didn't like the fact that my husband and we didn't have college degrees. And I knew I needed a skill set that could make me stand out in the workforce. And as I was learning about copywriting, I realized this is something I could do from home, because I was even when I had my kids were very little, I knew I wanted to homeschool. I knew that I didn't want to just become, in the corporate industry, always like a mom that's just a workaholic and in and out of the house. I wanted something where I could be home and it could be laxed enough where I could create my own schedule. And so that's really what it came down to. I mean, I'll try to keep it short, but I found a copywriting course, and within a month, our finances were pulled from under the rug from us because we were caregivers. And yes, it was, we were kind of young in our marriage. We didn't really have a backup plan. And it was really sad when the man we were taking care of, his name was Toby, he passed away suddenly, and we realized we need to do something fast. So that's when I really started just becoming obsessed with copywriting. I was in the hospital with my baby, like learning how to write copy, networking. I just became like, this is urgent. We have to be able to stay in our house. And Daniel, can you do something with her? Thank you. Yeah, so that's really what it was just about surviving. You know, it just got to a point where I needed to do this. And that's why I love the art of copywriting, because it's, you also learn to sell yourself in the process. I had every reason to believe that I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough to do this yet. And I had a lot of doubts, but that's the thing about being pushed up against the wall is, and knowing that I need to provide for my family. And I was able to sell myself on LinkedIn and basically create myself. I was able to position myself in a way of being a video expert, because, and that's the thing, like with copywriting, I could just write a bio and they would see, hey, she can write just from the bio. So that was basically how I got started. Was just going crazy on LinkedIn and hustling.
So LinkedIn is where you did most of your biz dev kind of at the beginning, right?
Yes.
Kind of snowballed from there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now I'm curious, because why not social media management, right? Social media marketing, because that's a bigger buzz, and copywriting is a sliver of the marketing, but it just seems like social media was a lot bigger back in the day. Why not that, and why copywriting?
That's an interesting question. I think I knew that copywriting had the longevity of, it's something that everybody needs all the time. Whereas social media management, that's kind of like, it was still a new concept when I was getting started. You know, this was back 6 years ago, where it kind of just wasn't on my radar. I wanted to write sales letters. I wanted to get the big jobs. And so that's when I realized I could even earn residual income from that, because you get paid a percentage of sales when you do that. So I just knew, like, social media will always be fun for me. I totally love it. But when it comes to, I just love to get down and dirty in the actual creation itself. And I love to, it's so weird for me to say I love to sell people, because for me, I love to help people. I love when I'm passionate about a product, when I'm passionate about a message, I love writing the emails and the sales pages to actually convince them to do the thing. Social media is more of like the breadth of that, it's more awareness level. So that's what I fell in love with.
Nice. That's really, really cool. So what's your creative process like? Like, when you get a project, you spend more time research and then you dive in, or you just you have a system of turning the creativity on? What's that like?
Oh man. Yeah. So this is a very funny question, because I've had clients who weren't used to hiring copywriters. They would ask me the day after giving me the job, like, hey, so how's the sales letter coming? Can I look at it? And I'm like awkwardly like, it does not exist yet. Because my process is definitely, I like to call myself a strategic procrastinator. It looks like procrastinating. I am just absorbing information. Give me time to get obsessed with your topic. Give me time to go through like the threads of these forums and these Facebook groups of like people sharing their pains and desires. I'm absorbing that information. Abraham Lincoln said that, give me like 4 hours, or I think it was 6 hours. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. That's my process.
Nice.
So yes, if you give me a month to do something, just know the first 3 weeks, don't ask for any work from me.
That is cool. That is cool. So what's your typical project like for when people hire you? Is it a 3-month thing for a sales or email? What's that like?
Like a free month, like a free trial?
No, I mean, what's your typical project like? Is it 3 months or 6 months or 2 weeks?
When people hire me for a sales letter, it is about like a 2-month process. And when they, if they want me to do like a launch sequence, I really prefer like full on 2 months to prepare for that. Usually it's just like a month, and I feel really rushed with just a month. I prefer the 2 months, but yeah, that's basically the time span that I like.
Nice. Do you like sales letters or do you like emails?
Emails are my favorite thing. I honestly,
Interesting.
I've really been trying to focus on email marketing lately, because sales letters, they take a lot more thought process and it's way more strategic. And whereas an email, I can just like, it's kind of like being a comedian, just coming up on stage every night, like Seinfeld, and just being like, yeah, so this is my joke for the day. Is this going to work or not? Okay, thank you. I love the excitement of trying something new, seeing if it works.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. And do you have your own personal frameworks that you kind of follow?
Absolutely. So I call it the cut the crap copywriting method. I call it like my scavenger hunt. I dump everything. What are pains that people are saying? Cut, copy, and paste. What are the desires they're saying? Copy and paste that. Dump it all into a Google Doc or something. I look at, what are some weird stories around the topic? What are some scary stories around the topic? Sometimes they don't even have to be about the topic itself, but they can tie in nicely with the message. So, if somebody, I recently read a story that was like a single mom found 88 snakes in her house. That can technically do with a lot of topics. That can be like, oh my gosh, like she found 88 snakes in her house. Something that's going to be like, so for email marketing specifically, or, if you're doing like Facebook Live or something, you can use that story to be like, what? I got to hear the rest of this, to kind of hook people in. And then to be like, and that reminds me of all the snakes, all these gurus that you find talking about martial arts, thinking they know their stuff, when they're really just scamming people. That could really just, do with anything. So weird stories. My 4 words are that I like to follow is hard, weird, stupid, scary. If you can, these are the attitude words. And I learned this in my comedy classes, that you want to focus on jokes and stories that have to do with these attitude words, because they're going to hook people. People don't want to know about what do you love with? That's like, oh my gosh, I love this. That's not interesting. It doesn't pull me from, I'm in the middle of watching The Office.
Yeah.
You think about it like if somebody was running naked through a forest and they saw your ad, they're running away from wolves, but they saw your ad, what would make them stop? I know it's like a really funny thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but like, what is that thing that's going to pull them from anything? That's what I'm seriously finding, is things that have to do with hard. Like, oh gosh, it's frustrating, isn't it? With like, a sad, like a frustrated emoji face. That will literally pull in people to be like, what is this about? Like, It literally could be about anything.
Yeah.
Hard, weird, stupid, scary. Stupid. Gosh, here comes another troll.
Yeah.
You just tell that story. Those are the kinds of things to pull people in. So that's for the hook part of it. Now for the actual offer, when, like, let's say it's a launch sequence, okay? Or let's say it's some sort of evergreen sales sequence. Those are the type of stories I get people interested in, being like, okay, they're kind of getting addicted to hearing your messages and how you tell stories. And you, especially if you have open loops at the end, like, oh, tomorrow I'll let you know what happened, my embarrassing story of what happened at Starbucks. But until now, I need you to focus on this. They'll be like, what? And so that gets them excited for the next email. But for the actual offer part, now we're getting heavy. Now they need to make a decision. Now I take and I ask myself these questions, and these are the 4 U's. They come from Michael Masterson's method: urgent, unique, ultra specific, and what's the 4th U? All right, I'll remember it. Urgent, ultra specific, unique, and
unicorn.
Unicorn. I'll remember it. Whatever. I'll write a comment in your group when I remember what it is.
Ultimatum.
But I take these 4 U's and I will ask myself these questions. So, and anybody here can Google what are the 4 U's of like Michael Masterson, and you'll find it. So and you ask yourself, okay, what is urgent about this? It's going to expire on Monday night. It's, you only have like for example, like the e-commerce industry, the e-commerce industry is going to grow by this much and Christmas is coming. So you better hop on this wagon quickly. Think of reasons. Why is it urgent to do now? Like even for dentistry, it's urgent that your kid gets braces. Otherwise they'll be laughed at in middle school kind of thing. So that's kind of a sad story. I don't know, but so, urgent, ultra specific. What are some results people are getting that have like really, ultra specific? This person got $7,399 in this amount of time. Because people love specific numbers, they love specific details. So if you can ask them about like, okay, anything that has to do with numbers. When I think about that question, okay, they should be getting results in 30 days from now type of thing. Next is unique. How does it stand out from the rest of their options out there? That is a very important one. And basically, when I ask myself these questions, gosh, what is that for with you? That's going to drive me crazy. When I ask myself those questions, I definitely am saying, okay, these are every single answer you will find. If you think about it, this can be an email in and of itself. So, what I'm doing is I'm just taking out these things and I'm saying, what's a good story? What's a good lead in that could come, maybe try the hard, weird, stupid, scary method again and put those kind of stories on top. Maybe look at what are their pains, what are their desires, put something like that on top. I literally think of my emails as a top and bottom, the hook, and then the offer. That's literally all it is. So, we really don't have to get fancier than that. And so that's my method for writing emails. And it really helps me to get ideas out fast. And so when we go into sales letters, I think about the structure. After I look at, okay, I have my dump, my scavenger hunt of, now I'm going to take out what are some gold pieces, and I'm going to put that into another Google Doc. And so this structure, if you look at, and I provide some in my courses, like some templates, literal templates of, okay, the headline goes here, this goes here, and you're just following, somebody else's structure of how they would write a sales letter. So this is your rough draft. Yep. This is not something that you should post. Technically you can, but it's gonna feel forced oftentimes, I found. So, but it's a way for me in my brain to feel like, look, you're doing something. Like this isn't just a blank slate anymore. You have something here. Now, from that, I'm able to chew on it for hopefully weeks if I'm not under insane turnaround. But so with this, I make sure every day to do the Eugene Schwartz method of how to write. Do you know about that one? No. I don't know if a lot of people do. It's like his old little way that he would write copy. This was the day I finally became a copywriter, was when I learned his method for focusing. When people say, they're like, I just don't know, I'm not a good writer, I'm not, I have writer's block. I don't believe writer's block is a thing. I just believe you need to give your brain 5 to 10 minutes to get in the zone. And this is how you do it. You get a cup of coffee or whatever. Yeah. Kombucha, I don't care. and you have your laptop and you pull up your copy and then you set a timer for 33 minutes, 33 seconds. That's what Eugene Schwartz said. I like to follow him because I like to feel like Eugene Schwartz when I do this. So 33 minutes, 33 seconds. He's a legendary copywriter for anybody that doesn't know this. He was like, a star of the advertising world in the last century. So And he would just sit there for this time period. He would sit there, stare at the screen. He wasn't allowed to do anything. And so, but as long as it had to do with the copy, he couldn't get up, and he would just be sitting there bored. He could do nothing for that 33 minutes, 33 seconds. He could do nothing, but he would get bored. And so he would look at the copy, and then he would be like, what if I change those 2 words there to this?
Yeah.
And now you're getting in the zone. Now you're like, I'm able to focus. People just need to give themselves that time. Even if you don't have a structure, like I said, even if you have no template, you could just be like, okay, I'll write nothing, I'll just write about my day. I'll just write about how my neighbor's dog is barking too much. And I'll just, now once you start thinking about the copy, you're able to just do that. And so just give your brain the freedom. That's why I really do like following any sort of type of structure. If you have like copywriting courses, they should teach this is a structure. Some of them have like templates. I really love relying on those, because for me, it is hard. Even though I've done this for a long time, sometimes it is hard to just start from scratch. And it's nice to just have little like milestones of, oh, this is where you're right, this is where I should put the guarantee. This is where I should, that's, a lot. I know I would sound cooler if I just was an awesome copywriter that you could just spit out an entire sales letter. But no, I like seeing these templates. That's how I do things. And that's how I love to teach people who are writing their own copy, do that too, because it becomes like a wax on, wax off thing where, yeah, I don't need a template like that when writing emails. That would honestly feel weird. But because I write it, I start that way in sales letters, I am getting that feeling of, okay, I'm writing copy. If that makes sense. I'm in the direct response realm here. So it's very hard for me to talk sometimes because I'm such a visual thinker. And so to put my process into actual words, I'm like, this is interesting. I probably sound like a crazy person. This is so fun.
So Clubhouse is good for you then. It's training.
Yes, for real. This has been very, very interesting because I'm not an audio learner either. I like YouTube videos. I like to see how things are being put together. So it is definitely training my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really all it is. My cut the crap copywriting method. It does get a little more into the nitty gritty, but that's really the basis.
That's really to hear, deep into how you think, because everybody's different. But to hear you and then how your process works, it's pretty interesting. I have some questions from the people in the group, so I wanted to throw some.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna be. And they were all like, hey, what kind of questions you have? So it was great. So question number 1 is, what do you consider the most powerful strategy for converting a cold audience? I like that.
Well, it depends what you mean by cold, because there are 2 different types. If you think about it, there's the first type of person that knows about their problem, but they don't know about you as a solution. For that type, I would say to, you could run Facebook ads or you can do joint venture partners. I love the idea of doing joint venture partners because they're not necessarily cold, they're warm when you're being referred to by somebody else. And just have either a low ticket offer that is so no brainer. I like what I call desk worthy offers. And so that's when you create something that is so good that they have to use it every day. When they see it, they go, oh, I would definitely use that every day. That's a really good way of asking yourself, is this something that, like if you create like a cool Google sheet or something that you're like, oh, this might change my life. That's a really good no-brainer offer that would make somebody want to purchase right away. Something else is if it's like a cheat sheet that they could go through in like 10 minutes, that's like a good free offer. I wouldn't charge for that, but it's something that could get them onto your email list real quick. But in those cases, they know about their problem, but they don't know about you. Now, another type of cold person is somebody they need to be put through the awareness stage because they don't even know they have a problem. So that definitely takes patience. You don't want to try to sell them too soon. I mean, you could if you have like an insane budget and you're on like, you have these infomercials going everywhere of like, oh my gosh, suddenly I do need a hose that doesn't drive me insane. I didn't realize a hose was driving me that insane. Now, because infomercials, they have kind of more time to take people from, that's way more direct response. But usually in the online world, especially if you don't have a good budget to kind of just slap those kinds of ads everywhere, especially in Facebook advertising, Facebook loves when you don't try to sell right away. When you take time to warm up your pixel, through blog posts, through giving information. And that's really a good way to train you to be patient, to put out content, even organically, especially if you're starting out. Focus on organic content and then you'll see, okay, is this resonating well with my audience? Focus on solving people's problems. And one way to do that is to think about, okay, a lot of people get tripped up when I say content. Yeah. So think about who is your main audience. For example, entrepreneurs. And so what mistakes are these entrepreneurs making? Make a list of those or mind map it. What are some of the solutions that you can provide? Okay. And and then make a list of those. And then why do they want to do the thing? Why are they making these mistakes? Why? And when I have these lists of stuff, I could suddenly see, wow, I could create a lot of content. And there's a resource that I love called 52 headline hacks. I think you can find it at headlinehacks.com by John Morrow. I have been using this since the day I learned what copywriting is. Mm-hmm. And I use it every day. It's my desk-worthy thing that I love to share this resource because he takes us through different headline formats. And I literally take this list, mistakes they make and solutions that they have. And I could put it through the headline hacks. Again, that's my structuring. That's the thing I'm talking about. Yeah, you can change it up. Yeah, you can make it a little more interesting after that, but just the motion. It's all about momentum for your brain to start. I love the art of the first draft because then as long as I have the first draft, anything could come out to that. Now you're just editing from your own creativity often and your own knowledge of their voice that they need to be hearing. So like focusing on those kind of messages, and also, like I said, the hard, weird, stupid, scary stories. Like that's another way to find hooks, but patience really with those kind of people, because they're still learning about why it's a problem, and you kind of need them to get used to listening to you, to like listening to you. Because you want them to become like addicted to people. A lot of people who say that email marketing doesn't work, you just have been bad at making your audience addicted to your emails in the first place. Yeah. So that's really all it is patience.
Yeah. Okay. So patience, so they can get used to you because they're aware that they have a problem, but they have way too many options. So why do they choose you, right? And then
right, and it takes relationship building. Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. The other question here says, what are the key components of writing good copy that maximizes engagement? I think that goes back to what you said earlier, is when you can answer these mistakes or catchy headlines.
Yeah.
In your style, get the engagement going, right?
Yeah, and anything that says that asks for their input back. When we specifically talk about engagement, I think of like comments, like increasing the comments on a social media post, or that is, and like just make them part of the conversation. People love to be heard. They love to talk. They love when you spark an idea and you give them that ability to be like, now you be part of the conversation. People love that. That's why on Clubhouse, everybody, for the people here who are aware of Clubhouse, there's like basically, two types of rooms that you're in. Either you're in the one where there's like 2 or 3 people talking with themselves and you're like, oh, I guess this is interesting. But the good ones that people love, that have a lot of engagement on there, are saying like, hey, well, look at that, let's hear from this person.
Yeah.
And when they are good at asking good questions, you can't just assume that I wrote something amazing, this is my story, or these are my tips. Yeah, so engage with me. Like but you got to be good at asking questions. One of the worst and good questions. One of the worst Clubhouse rooms I was ever in was all of these gurus saying, give your book recommendations. And of course, everybody has a book recommendation. And they're like, you should read this book by this person. Thank you. We're moving you back to the audience. I was like, what the heck? No, make it like expand on the top. Like when you put, like engagement, I don't really, I mean, you technically could do anything for engagement, right? You could be like, leave a GIF that shows how you feel about summer or something. But those definitely work. Don't get me wrong, but if you are really looking for like higher level engagement, then ask questions that people could expand on. Like, what was something embarrassing that happened when you were in middle school? That is something that will definitely be like, oh, I got a story. People love to feel like they're comedians. People love to feel like they are that they're experts. People don't necessarily want to feel like they're always, giving you praises, but they want to be like, look, I'm a good communicator in my own right. I'm a good storyteller in my own right. So if you could spark that out of people, ask good questions and give them the permission to do that.
Nice. Okay. Good. I like that. So for maximizing engagement is ask good questions and give them permission with some really cool, unique questions to generate the conversation. Right.
It gives them permission, especially in a place like Clubhouse where they're like, can I cut you off? I don't want to steal the conversation. But to be like, does anybody else have an amazing story that they want to share? Does anybody else have a tip they want to share? Gives them that in.
Yeah. So it's almost like if you're doing a live, it's like you're facilitating your own Clubhouse in your own Facebook profile, right? And an option to give you feedback. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And those types of questions were great at the end of blog posts. Even at the end of emails, sometimes you can ask like, do you have something that you want to say? Go ahead and reply to this message. I read every email.
Yeah. Speaking of email, one of the questions says, what's been your most profitable type of email sequence or flow? Like you've got the soap opera email, then you've got whatever email, right? So what's been your best sequence?
Oh, yes. So I definitely am a huge lover of the soap opera sequence from Autoresponder Madness. I took that course. It can be a little hard to wrap your mind around. So with that, I definitely you got to also trust your gut. Like I was saying with the different types of coming up with different emails. This is a very hard question because I feel like some of it becomes intuitive the more you learn about your audience. But my basic structure is don't start off right away with, hey, this is available, you should get it. You want to give them these stories, like I was saying, that would tease a little bit of like, hey, I have something coming up tomorrow, or hey, I have something coming up on Wednesday, look out for your email, because that starts to generate the curiosity. And so, and like I said, so again, I'm a visual thinker, so I'm picturing the week in my hands. So yes, you start off with these like teasing emails, and then you go, bam, it's available. Oh my goodness, all your dreams have come true. That's going to attract some people, but always make sure that you're writing for the person that's like, I don't know about this. So I always picture like I'm in an arm wrestling match, or it's not, that's kind of I always picture like I am sitting with somebody that I really need them to listen. Like I'm really trying to convince them. A lot of people write emails as if people should be excited for their thing just because. Right. And like as if everybody's gonna be like, oh, here's my money. When no, it's like it's a dance. Like you need to make sure, like, hey, I know you've got objections. Well, here's what I say to this. So after you do the announcement email, like honestly assume that people are like, oh, that's interesting. I'll think about it. Because now you've in the dance. Now you've got to do more of these stories, more of these angles of, okay, now there's this interesting story, plus I'm going to mention why you should buy. Now there's this interesting story, plus I'm going to mention why you should buy. And now it's almost like you're turning up the heat of, here we go. Like now, because now you're going to add a little more of the urgency of like, don't forget, like, this is going to end like again on like Sunday night or something at midnight at this time. And so honestly, like the closer I get to the date of, the more emails I'm going to send. And it's so funny how many, especially if they're solopreneurs, of like, I can't send too many emails, like that. Everybody in my list would freak out and unsubscribe. It's like, then let them unsubscribe. They're not that interested to begin with. And if it really freaks you out, then make sure you're only segmenting. Some programs, I use ConvertKit. Some programs, they will let you actually click on the link and they will tag. Okay, so what I do in ConvertKit is I put the link there, and then I can say to tag this link into a separate list. So like interested in the offer, right? And I know, okay, I'm now compiling a tiny list of people who are very interested in the offer, and I can send them all these emails, and they probably won't get ignored because they're like, yes, send me more emails because I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking if I should spend $2,000 on this thing. Please give me more reasons why I should buy. And so people honestly they like to when they are making a series, especially if it's a high ticket offer, they like to be sent the emails because it honestly, if you do it right, it's already on their mind a lot. And so when you send them another email, they go, oh, okay, there it is. Okay, that's a good story. That's a good angle too. Like picture your audience like this, because if you only send like one email a day, they're going to be like, I guess it's not that exciting, first of all. And they're going to be like, well, I'm busy watching Netflix. Like picture as if they're about to go watch Netflix, but your amazing, distracting email is like, okay, wait a second, I gotta read this really quick. But yeah, do not be afraid of unsubscribers. You guys, I have sent like 7 emails. I think that's probably the most I ever sent in one day, 7 or 9 emails in one day. And there was like 5 unsubscribers and a list of like 10,000. So it's like the silliest thing to worry about. It honestly kind of drives me bonkers when people get so scared of losing subscribers. It's like, who cares? They don't care enough. You're not resonating with them enough for them to care. Yeah. So let them be. Let them go. You do not need a huge list. It's just a vanity metric.
Right. So the email sequence, essentially, you just gotta know your audience a little bit better, and then structure it based on how you feel and what might work, and the different stories at different times, depending on what list they're in, how you segment them, right? Right. I like that. What are your top 3 headline tips?
Well, definitely, like I said before, that resource, the headline hacks, because it really helps me to get the juices flowing. Like I said, first draft. Don't think like, oh, I guess this is my official headline because it works perfectly with this formula. No, if you find like, oh, what if I added this word in front of the headline, that might work. You know, allow yourself to be a little creative, because that's what helps you to stand out, to be honest. If you feel like I'm not a creative person, I just need the format at first until I get used to writing my own copy, then go for it. Yeah. But that's my favorite resource for that.
What do you think of
what's that?
What do you think of emojis in headlines?
Emojis in headlines? I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't know if I've ever, I mean, I love emojis in subject lines.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Yeah.
I suppose they could work in a headline, to be honest. Like that sounds like something I might try.
Yeah.
Because I love when copy just makes it feel like a letter from a friend, or like a text message that you would send to a friend, because my brain's already in that zone all day. My brain is already in the zone of, oh, cool, there's a Facebook post. So if that's what they're used to reading, then emojis are very good at adding the humor in it, at adding the emotion there. And they're very eye-catching, because even before you look at the headline, I'm not so sure about the of the emojis that are like random, like a cactus or something. But when it comes to emojis that are very good at conveying emotion, if I see a laughing face before I read the thing, I'm going to be like, that's funny. Right. That's funny. My brain wants to know why is there a laughing face there? If I see a little poop emoji, I'm like, that they're talking about something that's poop. What is poop? So yeah, it's good at immediately, especially when your brain's used to seeing emojis like that, emotional emojis. They're going to be like, why is that emotion there?
Right.
So definitely. So for actual headlines, headlines are hard, and you should realize like headlines, as much time as you spend on the headline is as much time as you're probably going to spend on the rest of the copy, because this is your very first impression. This is, especially if somebody clicks the email to the link, this is the reason why they're going to stay interested or not, is the actual headline. But people make a mistake when the headline sells, when they try to sell in the headline. So my second tip is, don't try to sell. Just try to get them interested in what the next sentence is. The headline should sell what the next sentence is. And that's and then what's the job of the second sentence? To get them to read the third sentence. You know, just as long as you keep that in mind, that's really how people should approach, you know, how to write headlines. Something that I really love to do is go like a breaking news type, like when you treat your headline as if treat your sales letter as if it's like a news story, not literally, but I mean, you could try that, why not? But if it's like, I've seen like insane open rates, so I add like breaking news to the thing. Like, to honestly, breaking news, all caps, semicolon, this. You don't want to do it too much, because they're like, oh, everything's breaking news. But it works very good to get people interested in the launch, because they're like, this is new. The brain needs new. The brain also, this is what they found in studies, is that people are more likely to choose, when they want to make a change, to swing the pendulum. So that's why in the last few years of our country, we go Republican, Democrat. No, when we people didn't want, they didn't vote for Hillary, because that would be Obama 2.0. They went Trump. And then they tried that. They go, oh no, we need Biden 2.0, or we need Obama 2.0. So that's honestly, people love replacement. They don't want 2.0. So that's why I say, hey, this is a brand new thing. This is why you need to go in the opposite direction where you're going. People are like, I bet I do need to do that. So yeah, that's a element that I love to use in headlines as well. Is basically that helps them to be like aware of the problem, be like, okay, well, what is this brand new thing that I should try? or this, this story, hook them into like, oh, how did this person get this, or I don't know. Yeah, there's so many ways. Like there's so many headlines that are just flooding in my mind right now. So it's hard to just say three.
No, those are good. Those are good. Now, what do you think about, let's say in a Facebook post, short copy or long copy to get a lot of engagement? Does it really matter?
Yeah, it does, I would say. Because in order to have a long copy, you've got to make it so good that people can either skim it nicely and be like, okay, I see the general thing of what you're saying. Otherwise, some people are very amazing storytellers, and they have this huge long post that I really did read every line because it was entertaining enough, or it was so informative that it's called like infotainment. You've got to be entertaining. That is the biggest mistake you can make in copywriting, is to be boring, is to think that you can just act like a math teacher from high school, just droning on and on and on. I can say that because my aunt is a math teacher and I hear what her students say about it. And so, you've got to be entertaining. You've got to have personality in it. And if you can't do it, hire a copywriter that can.
Right.
And so, by the way, some people have a lot of trouble writing like how they talk. And I hear that tip, like, it's like, just write like how you talk. People are like, but I have a PhD and it's just so hard for me to write like how I talk because I'm so used to writing so formally.
Right.
And so, I have an Apple Watch. You can use your phone. I like to use the Bear app. It's called Bear. It has a little transcription button where you just press, you talk in it, and it literally transcribes your words. Bam! You instantly, in 10 minutes, have your 1,000 words of a rough draft. So that you can edit from there. What was I saying? What was the question?
Short and long. So. That's good.
Yeah. So
and long. I use Google Docs and then the text to speech or speech to text.
There you go. There's a ton of ways you can do it. Yeah, another free, what I do with my clients, if they're like, I don't have time to answer your questions, like when a copywriter tries to submit questions, like, hey, can you answer these? I'm like, don't put your client through that. They don't want to sit and write. That's your job. So I give them questions, and especially if they love talking, and if they, some people write better, or some people think better when they're writing, that's fine too. But if they're like, I think better when I'm talking, record yourself, post it on YouTube as unlisted. I can grab the transcript from YouTube and I can just copy paste. So, I really try to make things as easy for my clients. Like just give me what I need in like 10 minutes, even, like, or, whatever. But so that's really, so back to the thing of long or short, you want to make it, I love when it's short enough to catch people's attention, short enough to get, so like 200 to 300 words, really. I really don't like rambling, which, might surprise you because I feel like I'm doing a lot of that. But I really like when people are just able to communicate a message with a very short, quick story that's entertaining. I keep saying story because that's really what is going to distract people the most. It's going to make people be like, well, I want to finish what this story is because the first part of it is interesting. That's why when somebody asks a family member, when you're at dinner table, like, oh, why don't you tell them the story of that? And they start droning on and on about the details of the day. And you're like, can you just get to the part that's interesting? Like, oh yeah, the car accident or something. Get to the part of what I love. Okay, this is a great tip. Start at where is the height of the emotion. What is the climax? You can write a short story when you start with the climax, and then you can skip to, so here's what happened. Like, so, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just got in the scariest car crash of my life. Here's how it started. Then you can take a step back of, oh, but but when you start with the height of emotion and then you tease people with like, wait, but how did that happen? Now they want to know the full story. So
good.
But you don't, when you start off with like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this, like, just skip the boring parts, get right to it.
That's good, because that was going to be the next question is, how do you make it brief when you're trying to get something emotional out there, right?
Yeah.
It would be start with the craziest, most emotional part first, and then you're like, okay, try to explain it after, right? That's good.
Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly.
I like that. Let me see if I have any other questions. No other questions here. I personally have a question that I think everybody's thinking is, how do we know who's good and who's not in terms of who to hire as a copywriter?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Because I know so many good copywriters, and I would say you've got to find somebody, if you're really concerned with that, find somebody who is already interested in the topic. And because oftentimes, I'm a busy mom. I know, like, there's copywriters out there who are the masters of, I can write anything, give me ladies makeup, give me motorcycles, I will write anything. But I'm just, no, I got stuff to do. I want to write stuff that I'm already interested in, because I happen to want to spend most of my day with my kids. So that's what I personally do. And I turn away a lot of clients just because I'm like, I know a copywriter who could write that better, because they are obsessed with the health and wellness market or something. And I will refer them to somebody who's like, oh, health and wellness, I love to write health and wellness. And so that's just personally my take on that. Granted, you will find people who are like, I don't know if you're good at communicating my message after all. So that's tricky there. You could ask them for a sample, but don't go crazy. Don't ask them like, can you give me a sample blog post? Like, no, don't do that. Just ask real quick. Can you write me a quick email? Here's the link that I'd want them to click on. Can you just say, like, how would you do that? And expect a rough draft. Say, can you give me a rough draft of how you would do that? Because honestly, it really like hurts copywriters. When you ask for professional level work from them for free, I would really suggest against that, because a lot of times they're going to be like, I'm not getting paid for this. I don't know if you're going to say yes or no. Right. So I would, if prospects ask me that, I'd be like, yes, but expect it to be rough draft material, because this is a free trial. And I'm gonna give more polished attention to something that is paid, and I have more time to do. But if I've already got clients, I've already got stuff to juggle, and people that are expecting my best foot forward. I get that the first impression is best foot forward, but you will see my thinking process, my thought process a lot in this rough draft. You will be able to see, hey, they can storytell well. Hey, they're a good copywriter. And they can write this in a few hours or in a day. And so, yeah, I just give them that ability to be like, how would you write that? Because that's going to reveal a lot, and just in their thinking process. So
what's a general range? What's a general range in terms of what everybody can expect, or at least budget, when they're looking to hire somebody for email, and then maybe some landing pages and Facebook ads or something?
Mm-hmm. So it definitely depends on the person's experience and availability. So, but I would suggest looking at it's called AWAI. Their pricing guide. Every year they send out a pricing guide, and it's meant for both copywriters, and it's meant for both clients who are looking to hire copywriters. This is the industry standard of here's what everyone is charging. It's basically like the median. Yeah. And it's helpful for clients to know what to expect in professional rates. and it's helpful for sorry, a little distracted. And it's helpful for people who are just starting out to be like, oh, I can't charge too little, because then that hurts the more professional copywriters. So I would definitely look at that as a resource, because that's going to be better than anything I can say here. As far as like for me, I personally wouldn't want to write an entire website for more than, or I mean, for less than 10,000. That's me. That's because I've been doing this a while. But there are plenty of copywriters out there who would. You just got to look at the ranges, and you got to see, got to ask around of, if you do come across a copywriter, ask, hey, can you, but for me, what I do is I say, hey, yeah, that's, if they say, oh, that's a little bit out of my budget, and I just be like, okay, I can go ahead and refer you to somebody who's a little less experienced, but I know who writes very well, and I would totally do that.
Yeah. Nice. AWAI.
Yes, AWAI. It stands for American Writers. I don't know. I'm gonna mess it up, but it is AWAI.
This is cool, man. I don't want to take up a lot of your time because you are a busy mom, but I am grateful. This is packed with a lot of really solid information that people can learn, right? Act on, but also it positions your expertise like, dude, that's incredible.
Nice. I'm so glad.
Where can they follow you?
Yeah, I'm so glad to be helpful. You can go ahead and join my Facebook group. It's called Cut the Crap Copywriting. It's literally just tips like this, a little bit less of a fire hose, I suppose. If you just want to know tips just a bit at a time. To kind of, I like to give people something to chew on every day. So
yeah,
there, you can find me there.
Nice. And then they can follow you on Instagram and Facebook and reach out to you there too?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, my Facebook profile and Instagram is a bit skimpy right now, but you can go ahead and message me there. My DMs are open there as well.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Man, I appreciate you. This is great.
Yeah, this has been so fun. Thank you, Rob.
Yeah. I'm super impressed. Very impressed.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll chat soon.
Bye.